Welcome back, everyone. My name is Carissa Kaysen, and it's April, meaning that this is the last podcast episode I'm going to be gracing you with this season. So it's only fitting that for the final episode of this season, we're going to be talking about anime ending themes and the ending of an anime's story. With me again is my roommate Jessica Yang as we share our favorite ending themes and some of our favorite endings that have stuck with us for a very long time. So, without further ado, let's jump in. All right. It is the beginning of the end of this anime podcast season, and I have invited with me again my roommate and best friend, Jessica Yang.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I am Carissa's roommate, and,
This is your third time being
here?
It
is. I should be well-versed in this, but I am not.
Introductions are lame anyway.
Yeah.
Who needs a proper anime introduction?
Quite a few animes out there.
That's true.
From what I'm told.
Well, like I said, it's the beginning of the end, and so today on this episode we're going to talk about anime endings in both senses of the word. So the ending of an anime story and the ending credits of an anime. So we're going to start with the latter, the ending credits of an anime. We're going to start with this question. What are some of your favorite anime ending sequences? Can you give me your top 3 and why they're your favorite?
I think I like the Naruto ones where they're all like, I think we were talking about it the other, like an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one with all walking around?
Where it's like a beach episode?
Yeah, and you have like the Sakura just watching
her friends play at the beach,
gazing at them, and then
yeah, that was for like a filler arc, I believe.
Was it?
I believe so. It wasn't. Well, then again, like Naruto endings are never really pertain to the current arc in the story, and sometimes they're just like fan animations, or like not fan
service.
Yeah, it's fan service is what I'm saying.
It's like they look like slice of life endings,
yeah.
But like they're not.
Yeah, the endings are usually not too serious, usually during the fillers, especially, they're not very serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you know the anime was impactful when you haven't seen it in like years.
But yeah. So that ending was called My Answer by Simo from the Naruto Shippuden arc. Yeah, that was a really fun one, mostly because it, like you said, it was slice of life, and it was something like,
it was like a nice break from the heavy
action and like the seriousness of some anime episodes. Yeah. I believe that's the 6th ending in Naruto Shippuden.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So many.
There are so many. A lot of animes go through more endings than they do openings. Because I know
really?
Bleach, another big anime, went through 14 openings and about 30 something endings.
Why do you think that was?
Usually an opening song covers the current arc of that time, so it covers like the mood of that current arc of the anime. And the endings, they're a lot more flexible. Like I said, they could be like fan servicey or it could pertain to the current arc. But endings always had like a lot of flexibility as to what's being portrayed, and nobody really stays towards the ending songs of an anime,
honestly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so that was one of your top 3. Do you have any?
I think
2 others.
I feel like Attack on Titan have very like abstract ones. Like the first, was it just one of the main characters just sketched out?
Yeah.
And staring into the horizon. Oh yeah. Oh my god, I forgot. It was like her as a little kid.
Yeah, it was her as a little kid, and then she
kind of
she had the scarf that Eren
Yeah.
gave her around her neck, and then at the end, like the scarf unraveled, and then she became an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, she was like surrounded by like knives, which was
Mhm.
symbolic of the knife she used to kill the man who was going to kill Eren when they were kids.
Ooh, I just got shivers. But
Yeah. Yeah, but like that I understand why that's one of your favorites, because that ending gave me shivers. It was like even though Mikasa isn't the main protagonist, because that's Eren.
Yeah.
But she might as well have been the main protagonist, honestly, because that ending really encapsulated Mikasa's nature as a person, how she grew up, and who she grew up being is like this fierce protector of the people she loves.
I guess it also showed more sides to her personality, because
the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like not when you initially meet her, but when a majority of the show is her being the fierce, stoic lioness of a woman, and you never see like a sort of vulnerability to her. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, give us those multi-dimensional women. It's like she
popped out of the womb as like a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, like nobody pops out of the womb as a strong, independent woman. Everybody
starts from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that growth from like the starry-eyed vulnerability to like the stone-cold fighter is it does send chills down your spine when you watch it, and it's such a calm song too.
Yeah. Like, as opposed to the loud intro, or opening,
which back then was Guren no Yumiya, so that was like a hard-hitting first opening, and then to end with such like a melancholy, kind of like somber tone at the end of it all. Mostly, like a lot of episodes ended violently, so to have like that break at the end from all of that violence.
It's a bit reflective, I guess you can say. I think most of their endings though are quite somber in tone.
Yeah. When you usually have like a really tough shonen anime like Attack on Titan, they usually have some sort of lighthearted or somber or melancholy song to end that episode of an anime. Do you have a third that you just like a lot of the Naruto endings?
Yeah, I feel like they're just really iconic, but I can't really.
Naruto went through a lot of endings, so it's hard to pinpoint which one exactly. I think one of my personal favorite from Naruto, just to like fill out this list, is this song called "Hey You Can Do It," and it's Naruto sparring with Neji, Tenten, Rock Lee, and Konohamaru.
I think I remember.
Yeah. It's like, hey, 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 I think we can do it. And they were just like, it was just Naruto going, like sparring up against them in like a relay. So, Naruto's...
Which arc was it during the original arc?
No, it was during Shippuden.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Konohamaru was like a little bit more grown up. He's like a teenager.
No,
and he's Oh no, Konohamaru like mellows out with age, honestly.
He was a Naruto.
Yeah, he was a Naruto. He was a Naruto 2.0 essentially. But yeah, he was that was one of my favorite Naruto endings that's stuck with me until today. As for my personal 3 favorite anime ending credit songs, I should say, I would have to say, this is in no particular order because I love a lot of anime endings, and I'll expand on them in my own list of like top 10 anime endings. So that's gonna be fun to consolidate because I just love a lot of anime. But probably the one that stands out to me is Sugar Song Bitter Step from Kekai Sensen, or the English title Blood Blockade Battlefront. That's the first ending to the anime, and it's just like it's a fun, like also kind of melancholic song. It's more fun than it is melancholic, although like the bridge to the chorus can be seen as melancholic, and it's also well animated.
What is the genre of the anime, or what is it about?
Blood Blockade Battlefront follows this guy named Leonardo Watch, and he was given these special eyes. He has special eyes, Jessica.
Oh man.
He was given these special eyes, basically the eyes of God, so he can see through anything with these eyes. But it was given in exchange for his little sister's eyesight. He didn't have like the courage to say to the god that approached them like this. It looked like an eldritch god, essentially.
Oh no, never mind then.
Yeah, so
I understand.
So he didn't have the courage to speak up, no matter how much he wanted to save his sister. But his little sister, who is a wheelchair-bound young girl.
That's even worse now.
Yeah, she sacrificed her eyesight for the sake of her older brother. And now Leo traveled to what used to be New York City.
Okay.
It's still New York, but it has like a bunch of aliens from different dimensions and mystical creatures inhabiting it now alongside humans. So it's a really great anime. I really guarantee you watch it. But it's the ending. It kind of treats the anime as like, oh, the anime is a stage, and these are all the actors, and this is their like their ending. What's this? Their ending song. So. Where everybody claps and the audience asks for an encore, maybe. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, Sugar Song Bitter Step is a very wonderful song on its own, and the animation of the ending credits is just helps bring those themes of stage, like everybody are actors and this is the stage they're playing on. Or they're fighting on, because it's a shonen anime. For another anime ending that I enjoy greatly, I would actually have to give that to Mirai Nikki, or Future Diaries, which is their English title. The song Dead End by Phelan. Or Phelan. It's an English song, so it's a Japanese woman singing in English.
Amazing.
So but it's like, oh my god, it's such a rocking song, and it like hits you with all of these emotions, and it's not like as animated as my previous entry was Sugar Song Bitter Step, and but it has. I like it more for the song itself rather than the animation. And it emphasized like the desperation that the characters had in game. So Future Diaries it's like a battle royale style anime involved with several people, and they basically have these diaries in the form of whatever device they use most, so a scroll or a sketchbook or a phone that would send you messages of the future. Is like, this person is going to turn here, that person is going to go on this train and stop here, and it can ultimately tell when you die or when certain people will die, and that will be after like saying, so and so died, dead end. And so the song Dead End really encapsulates trying to outrun these people who are trying to kill you and avoid a dead end.
So they're all trying to avoid their own dead end?
Yeah, because other people, it's like a game that the god of that anime, Deus Ex Machina.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Deus is having that game so that he can find somebody who can take over his position as god.
Okay.
And so the people have to kill each other to get what they want.
So it's like Hunger Games, but
with phones that can, or with devices that can tell the future, essentially. And each diary fits the personality of the person, the contestant, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So one person can only tell the future of another person, or one person can only tell the future through the eyes of their pets or their dogs. So it's interesting.
I need to watch that now.
Oh, it's a psychotic anime. Like you're going, like it's messed up.
Oh no. Oh no.
But it's a classic anime in that you know the trope yandere, right?
Yeah.
Like a crazy psychotic person who will do anything for the one they love.
Yeah.
Even kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that one of the protagonists Yuno is, or Gasai Yuno is the quintessential yandere in that aspect. So she does, it's a really messed up anime, so be prepared for some psychological horror.
All right.
But it's I actually like recommend it because it's really fun to watch. Maybe fun is the wrong word, but it's like it's a very interesting watch. Just to see like the descent into madness, what people will do when backed into a corner, and
so like Hunger Games on steroids and like a Jesus
with some Jesus imagery. Oh god, there is a lot of symbolism, and it makes excellent use of the symbolism in the anime. And the ending, just I liked it a lot better than their openings, actually.
Interesting, because usually nobody pays attention to the closing.
Yeah, but when it's a bop, like
you're right.
Dead End, ooh, it's A-okay in my book. So I mentioned 2 so far?
Yeah.
So I mentioned Sugar Song, Bitter Step, Dead End. I suppose my third one would be from Psycho Pass, which is their first ending, I believe, called. It's the Japanese title is hard to pronounce.
No, it's totally fine.
So I'm just gonna go by the English name. It's called Monster Without a Name by Egoist.
Oh,
yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, it's
Egoist has a lot of songs.
Yeah, her a lot of her their earlier stuff are like rock synth rock kind of pop bops. They're bangers is what I'm saying. But Monster Without a Name is a great ending to another psychological thriller anime. And it's mostly because of the song that I really like it.
The end shame.
Yeah. But like the ending credit animation, it really showed that the people it was like they were mug shots. So it's like
interesting.
Like taking pictures of all the characters in the form of like a police mug shot. Yeah, a police lineup. And it's like as if we, the audience, are in the lens of the Sybil system, kind of like prosecuting these characters in a lineup. It's like who's the like these are the usual suspects. So that's why I really do like the anime a lot, or the anime ending a lot. You have any honorable mentions to speak of? So like sometimes animes do actually take English songs and incorporate them into
what do you mean?
So like I only know of one anime that does this, and it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay.
And for Stardust Crusaders, they used Walk Like an Egyptian.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like the actual song from the original English band.
Yeah.
And because they were traveling across Egypt to get to the Dio, the villain of the anime. So it was just their journey. And so Walk Like an Egyptian was just a silly kind of ending, but I really appreciated the credits animation more than a song, even though Walk Like an Egyptian is a favorite from growing up in elementary school. All right, so we're going to move on to our second question. Since we already talked about anime credit scenes, let's talk about anime resolutions, or anime, like the actual resolution to an anime story. So what makes a good resolution to a story? Let's just get that right out of the way.
I guess cleaning up loose ties or loose ends. There shouldn't be anything that's... I guess you can have things that are left, like, unexplained, but, like, plot-wise, you know what I'm saying?
Like if you're establishing, like, some sort of relationship between characters, how is that going to be resolved?
Yeah, like,
or if there's, like, if there's a plot B, C, and D, what happens with those plots? Like, those need to be resolved by the end of an anime.
Yeah, like, you can't... The character can't just be lost in limbo, or, like, wait, remember that character from episode 200? What happened to them? Where'd they go?
Where they go? Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Does an ending need to be quote unquote good? Like, good as in, does the hero always have to, or the protagonist always have to succeed?
No, I don't.
By the end of the series,
I don't believe so, because I guess it really depends on what kind of anime, I think. Because if it's like a happy-go-lucky shonen kind of, I'm the best protagonist in the world, I think maybe it's appropriate to have like a happy ending. But if it's more like one of those serious tone ones where it's kind of delving deep into like the mind or whatever, those, you know, philosophical ones, it doesn't necessarily have to end on a good high note.
Yeah. I should have said this at the beginning, but there's going to be some spoilers for anime, so
really
for certain animes there are going to be some spoilers, so
I don't know, do you feel that there needs to be a good resolution to a story? Or what is a in your opinion?
In my opinion, what a good resolution would be, I think, like you said, that that a story shouldn't have any loose ends. If an anime is supposed to end like definitively, like that's going to be the end, there's not going to be anything else to that story, then yes, it needs to tie up some loose ends and
give the viewers like a good solid ending
that's like believable with like the line of reasoning that the story has set up over the course of maybe 12 or more episodes. Most like original animes like 12 episodes, maybe 26 at max.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And even like some very well known and well loved animes have only have one season and still are waiting for the next installment.
Ooh, it shouldn't end on a cliffhanger.
Oh, we'll talk about cliffhangers later. But okay, so we've established that a good resolution to an anime needs to make sense for the story, and it should tie up a lot of, if not all, the loose ends in their plots.
Yes, because it is concluding a season, it should be wrapped up in a nice package.
Yes, whether it be a season or a series, it should be like a nice wrapped up package. Square packaging.
You don't want it to be like a UPS package where
it's tousled around, gets to you damaged, slightly open, gets to you damaged. Yeah, it shouldn't be side shade UPS. Oh Jesus. Hashtag not sponsored. Let's move on to the nitty gritty when it comes to endings. Yes, I still say nitty gritty because it's a fun phrase. When talking about endings, even the best ones don't end well for the protagonist. And sometimes the villain wins, or something tragic happens to the protagonist. What do you think of endings like this?
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Not all endings have to be happy endings, like I've said previously.
Yeah, tragedies exist as a genre for a reason. Shakespeare made a bunch of tragedies for a reason. It's because they were entertaining. So I'm not likening.
As long as they're not my tragedies.
As long as they're not my tragedies.
It's like a telenovela.
Oh god. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes the protagonist doesn't always get what they want. Sometimes, in rare cases, the protagonist dies in the process.
Do you think it should matter if it's like a specific genre? Like, would you allow it in this genre versus another one?
Like it... Okay, usually... when it comes to shonen, the shonen genre, I want the protagonist to win, and to be happy at the end of it all. Because usually the protagonist went through so much shit throughout the series.
Expected more.
Yeah, it's expected more when a protagonist is faced with adversity and for them to have a happy ending, because it's like the underdog story, so you want the underdog to win. But especially in a lot of sports anime, that's like very clear. Like you want the main team that you're following to win the semifinals or the championships. But usually, especially in sports anime, the protagonist team doesn't win. They fall short just of the championship or the semifinals. That's usually for the first season.
And then they come back.
Bigger, better, a lot more experienced, and...
Bigger, better ingredients.
Better pizza, Papa John's.
Please sponsor us.
No, don't.
Oh, wait.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Oh, wait, we want Domino's.
Oh, hashtag not sponsored, please.
Sorry.
But yeah. So in sports anime, yes, I want. It's in certain genres. It's expected that your protagonist won't win. Probably for that first season. And maybe they'll win the next season. In a slice of life drama anime, I usually, especially if it's like a soap opera type anime where it's centered around a love story. You usually want your main protagonist to get with the guy or girl that they want, or maybe
end up with a love interest,
or even if it's not centered on a love interest specifically, you want the main character to be happy at the end of that slice of life anime, because it just, if it ends like that and there's no other seasons, it's a cut and dry story, it's sad to watch.
I think slice of life animes are more relatable because it's kind of like it could happen to us. Like if it doesn't end well, it's or as ideally. Yeah,
I guess I can see that.
It's like I feel like people see themselves in that kind of scenario. So like if the show doesn't have a happy ending, it's like, well, what's the point?
I think it comes down to my personal what I want from my anime. So for example, what I usually expect from my anime, or what I want to see from my anime, is like some form of, like, anime is a form of escapism for me. Like, I want to immerse myself in another world, and I do not want to concern myself with normal human real life predicaments or emotion. Well, not emotions, predicaments. Normal human predicaments.
What school?
Yeah. So that's typically why slice of life isn't my absolute favorite genre of anime. I usually lean more towards shonen or fantasy.
Yeah. You don't want to be...
Or sci-fi.
I got you. It's too close to home sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes slice of life like hits a little too close to home, and I just end up being sad. But I enjoy stuff like Miyazaki movies, where some of the themes are likened to real life problems and stuff and struggles, but it's portrayed in like a fantasy like setting, so it doesn't hit me as hard. And if things don't end well exactly, then it's, to an extent, it's believable, but I'll just feel really sad afterwards.
I just thought about Junji Ito and I'm like, well...
The protagonists in Junji Ito's stories never end.
No.
Or are never happy in the end.
No.
They're usually either dead or more horrified than they were before. Junji Ito, he's the... Not the... He's this era's Lovecraft.
He's like the Stephen King.
That's actually a good liking. He's like the Stephen King of manga.
Yeah.
Like there are like previous horror manga artists before him, of course, but none were as visceral as Junji Ito, like as horrifying as he is, because he was a dental technician before turning into a mangaka, so he has an intimate understanding of anatomy and detail. So that's why it looks horrifying.
It's visible.
Yeah, it's visible. So yeah. So okay, so we talked about animes ending in tragedy specifically. What if the villain wins in the end?
Again, it depends what type of anime we're watching. Like if it was a slice of life, I'd be like, what? Who?
But this bitch bullied the main protagonist.
I know, right? Like,
how could she win at the end of this? Yeah, I don't think there's any anime that I can think of where it ended like that, where the bully or the villain, quote unquote, wins. This is usually more obvious in shonen anime. So, spoiler for Fate Zero. In the end, that the villain wins, and usually like the absolute trash, destitute murderers that actually have a better ending compared to the heroes of the story. So like they have like rather peaceful, like when they die, like they die in the anime, but they have like a relatively peaceful catharsis.
The villains?
Yeah, the villains.
How did the heroes go?
Did
they like explode?
Like, no, it's like the idea of like a fate worse than death. You know, they didn't die, but they lived long enough to see
They lived long enough to be the villain.
Not to be the villain, but they lived long enough to see the consequences of their actions and how their single-mindedness has resulted in the destruction of the area.
So they lived long enough to become the villain.
But they're not necessarily
intentionally.
Yeah, they didn't they did it with the protagonist Kiritsugu in this instance. He did terrible things because he's an assassin by profession. He did terrible things, but he had at the root of his core, he wanted to become a hero of justice. So he's more an ends justify the means kind of guy. But he was just so focused on destroying a source of evil that he didn't realize like the repercussions until like all of that city in Japan was destroyed. Yeah, it's and like the villains, quote unquote, like the people who have like backstabbed their masters and have broken alliances by killing their allies, they essentially win because they revel in the destruction of.
It's what they want.
Yeah, it's what they wanted essentially. So, in that case, I believe that's that a villain winning in the end is justified.
Okay. Yeah.
There's actually this one anime called School Days, which has a very let's say a very memorable ending in which so the protagonist it's set in high school.
Yeah.
So the protagonist is a guy, and he it's like typical slice of life stuff. It starts off as like, he gets a girlfriend, starts going out with her, but then that guy, our protagonist, who we typically are supposed to be rooting for, cheats on his girlfriend with several other girls, leads those girls on, and at the end of it all, his original girlfriend stabs him and kills him.
Yes! That's a happy ending.
And he kills.
What the heck?
She ends up killing him because he cheated, and there was just like a lot of plot points that ended up there. But he ended up our protagonist, who we're usually conditioned to root for. He ended up
wanted dead.
Yeah, he ended up dying. So in those cases where our protagonist is a piece of shit, or essentially a villain in any other context, is would have like a fitting ending where they're like killed off.
A bigger pile of shit than Mount Everest.
Yeah, he was. Who thinks that it's a good idea to cheat on other girls while you're in a committed relationship?
I don't know.
Even if it's high school and you're like a teenager, it doesn't excuse being a terrible human being. Okay. So we touched on this a little before, but how do you feel about cliffhanger or ambiguous endings in anime? Okay.
This depends on if we're guaranteed a next season or not.
So if we're not guaranteed a next season?
Hell no. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to play at?
What you playing at, son?
Because, like, if we all think that the anime is supposed to only last for, like, one season, then we're like, alright, it should end on a solid note. But if it's hinting at something else, and then we're like, wait, is there supposed to be something coming up, or nah?
Or maybe it doesn't even finish up an arc.
Oh god, it cuts off and right in the middle. It leaves you.
Yeah, because spoilers for Berserk. This is what happens in the end of the original Berserk anime. So, without getting into like all the nuances, essentially the characters are in the demon world, and the army of friends that came to save
army of friends. I wish I had an
army of friends. So essentially the army of friends goes to rescue their commander.
Yes.
From and break him out of jail.
Yeah.
But the commander sold out all of his friends to be sacrificed to the demons in the demon world.
Wait. This commander sends his little army buddies.
Yeah, they were like, he commanded like a whole army before.
Go on.
He was like a wonderful leader, very understanding. But then he went on this like spiral of self-destruction because one of his best friends left him to go exploring on his own. And from then he just went on a downward spiral where he ended up in jail for sleeping with the king's daughter. So he was like tortured in that prison, and that was his lowest point. In that lowest point, he made a deal with the devil, essentially.
Yes.
And in order to seal the deal,
sacrifice the whole army,
sacrifice all of his friends.
Oh my god.
In that demon world. And the main character, Guts, he was basically watching all of his friends die in front of him, and he was like enraged and wanted his the Commander Griffith to pay. But at the very end, it just ended with him, with Guts, like, screaming as he was being clutched in the hands of a demon. And it just ends there. Fade to white. It just ended there. Back then, it wasn't like guaranteed at the time. Like, there was no news that they were going to have a second season. And there was more to that arc that it didn't finish.
It left loose ends.
Yes, it left all the loose ends. Like, does Guts get out? If you didn't read the manga at all, like, and you were anime only, did Guts get out? Did Griffith get what was coming to him? What happened afterwards? It wasn't until, like, literally
20 years later.
Yeah, like a 20 years to a decade to 20 years later that we did get a sequel that was in CGI and didn't really address everything. So
it's something.
It was something, but at the time, it was a terrible ending to an anime.
Yeah, because
it didn't even finish that arc. If you were going to end the anime, then finish the rest of that scene, like, because eventually Guts does get out, and like Griffith becomes like a demon lord.
I mean, maybe they're like, ooh, cliffhanger, but they didn't have funds to finish the second season.
Yeah, and that really does come down to the funds you have, and that, like, how much the studio is willing to let you work on a project. And the popularity of that project in the first place, because unfortunately money makes the world go around, and you need to make money to fund those passion projects. So yeah, that was one ending that's personally stuck with me for a really long time. How about more ambiguous endings? Anime that were guaranteed a season afterwards.
And the ending is ambiguous?
Yeah.
I think that's fine. We know something is coming up. I mean, I think it's fine. We know something is coming up. It's not like we're being left hanging. I guess it leaves more to, like, the viewer's imagination. Like, oh, what comes next? Maybe this will happen. If you're, like, purely anime watcher. I mean, there's also some animes out there that are original anime without, like, a book.
Yeah, or a light novel.
Yeah.
Or a book to accompany it. Yeah, it's very rare, though.
Yeah.
So usually there's anime adaptations of manga that's been established for, like, probably a few years by that time.
Yeah. But I think it's fine, you know? But nobody really likes cliffhangers now, do
they? I get the appeal of leaving a cliffhanger or an ambiguous ending for that season, just to lead on to a second season. But it never really feels good now, does it? Because then you'll have to be waiting for this. Like, say if it's an anime you really like.
Yeah, and you're like, it's not. There's nothing hard, concrete, and conclusive about the ending. It's like,
you're just. I guess I'll leave me hang. Just leave me hanging here, and don't even get me started on, like, anime that go through production hell, especially for, like, a second season, and then there's more waiting. It's like, when is this gonna come back?
It's like, we know something now. We know something for sure is coming up, but when is it?
Yeah. There's no set date to an anime you like. It can be very frustrating. There's one anime that I really like. It's very short, only like 12 episodes. It's called Princess Principal. And it follows, like, this group of young girls, and they're part of a spy organization in an alternate reality of London. Where it's kind of like Cold War-esque, where like the Iron Curtain is like a wall that separates East and West. Yeah. And it's like an espionage it's like an action espionage story featuring this group of girls called the Principal Team. And it's
can I just say that it's a better name than Pretty Poisons in Riverdale? They named an all-girl gang Pretty Poisons.
I think that's kind of cute,
Pee-pee?
honestly.
And one of the leaders' names is Tony. It starts with a T.
We're talking about Riverdale now. This is
I'm
anime.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Riverdale's my favorite anime.
It is. And then the girl, Cheryl, the redhead, calls the girlfriend TT. So I'm like, TT is leading the pee. I'm sorry. That was, okay, go on.
You just needed to say that, didn't you?
I did.
Riverdale is your favorite anime.
It's my favorite anime.
Because the shit show it is. So Princess Principal, yes. So that at the end of 12 episodes, it did conclude that arc, but it did leave some stuff that there could be more to their adventures. And like it's like it ended with them being called back into action, essentially. And that anime ended 2012. It is now 2019.
7 years later.
Yeah. I think it ended 2012.
But I think that's fine though, because we already...
But it hasn't been like greenlit for a second season.
No, like I know, but like I feel like that ending is okay, because you know in modern media, like American media, like we have those espionage films or spy films where the spy is often like called back at the end, like, hey, we have another job for you.
Yeah,
but we don't always expect like another. If it happens, it happens. You know.
Yeah, I guess it would. Again, like we said before, it would depend on the genre of the anime. That would lead more to like how satisfied we are as viewers with that ending. Yeah, now that I think about it, yes, but also,
yes, but also I want more.
Yeah, I want more because it was such a great anime.
Now you're just getting greedy.
Yeah, it just comes down to greed.
But that just shows how good of a anime it was.
Yeah,
but you want more.
Like the characters, they were multi-dimensional. They weren't one note.
Ooh.
They had depth.
They were 3D.
Yeah, no, they weren't
I'm just
3D.
Kidding.
They were 3D on the inside.
I don't want that.
They were 3D on the inside, but 2D on the surface.
Ew, what does that look like in real life? Like a piece of paper, but you cut into it's like a vortex inside.
It's a black hole on the inside.
And now we know what those look like.
Yeah, no. Now we know what they look like. A blurry orange. Okay, enough roasting the black hole.
I think it's gonna roast you as you go inside.
It's not gonna roast me because no light can escape it.
You don't have any light. You're just darkness every time I come into your room.
Yeah. How could I did not ask for this roast. I did not invite you to this podcast to roast me.
But
it was to be expected, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. But yeah, if you're listening to the studios, make Princess Principal Season 2, please.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, I don't really like cliffhangers or ambiguous endings. If there's going to be a second season,
it better be confirmed.
Yeah, it has to be confirmed, please. I
mean, I think it's just in our nature to want a conclusive ending. Like, we're curious creatures, so we want to know what happens.
Yeah, if we have a story, please like make it come full circle, but
make it come in a nice UPS package, not like the USPS.
Side roast USPS. Okay.
Oh, that's the ending.
Yeah. Those are the last of my questions. Any final thoughts when it comes to anime anime and their endings. Let's see. What's your favorite ending to an anime? Like, not ending songs, but
no, I know.
What ending has like really stuck with you for better or for worse?
Honestly, the first season for Attack on Titan, I think the last in the last scenes, you see everybody kind of. I think they're celebrating that they killed all like the Titans or whatever. They have like the best situation that they can find themselves in, and then like you go to the wall, and the wall's the thing that's protecting them from all the Titans from it coming in, and like you see the wall crumble away, and then you see a Titan's face. You're like, what is that?
It's a colossal Titan.
It's like, what the hell? What is that? They're not as safe as they thought they were.
Yeah, it's like everything they thought is now being called into question. Yeah, season 1 of Attack on Titan, the anime, really...
It was a cliffhanger, but it was done, like, you're like, shoot.
Yeah, it ended that first arc, and it really set in the tone with, oh, shit. Like, maybe we should question what's in our walls instead of what's outside.
Like, what's the monster inside? Like, there can be more heinous things, like, oh, man.
Yeah, it really sparked the idea of internal conflict within the walls, rather than the outside... the outside threat of the Titans.
Internal conflict.
Yeah, literal internal conflict.
External conflict.
Yeah, it and we've had like throughout the first season of Attack on Titan, we've been like teased with the idea of classism within the walls. So like the people within
what's another word for
a hierarchy?
Hierarchy.
Yeah, like the social hierarchy and the problems within that social hierarchy has been sprinkled in throughout the first season. So it really ultimately sets up for the second season of Attack on Titan, where the Survey Corps really questions what's going on within the walls and the hierarchy and the ruling class.
It's more corrupt than they thought.
Yeah, but they all somehow unite under the Titans. So maybe the Titans are a red herring to what's actually wrong in society.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I read ahead in the manga, so I know what happens.
No,
so I know what happens, but it really did set off that's a really great ending for that first season of Attack on Titan. I feel like in terms of ending...
Do you mean like ending? Because...
Yeah, like either ending of a series or ending of a season. Either or.
Okay.
Like what ending has stuck out with you? I find the ending of Full Metal Alchemist, more specifically the anime Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because it was a more faithful adaptation to the manga. And followed the manga to the very end. That was a very, it was a very heartwarming, heartfelt ending for me. It's like, yes, these characters have been through so much hardship, have seen so much, grown so much. We've literally watched them grow because they're like drawn slightly different, like from the beginning to the end. And so they've literally
grow.
Yeah, you see them literally grow up. You see the height differences. Like Edward was always like made fun of for being a scrawny, short runt, and he's always like been angry about that. But at the end, he's actually like taller than Winry, his childhood friend, and eventually like
character growth.
Yeah. Like there's some sacrifices that were made. People did die, but it was a clean ending in that the brothers Edward and Alphonse are going out and still studying alchemy, but they move forward with the courage in their hearts, a full metal heart. Literally, that was the quote, one of the last line in the Full Metal Alchemist anime and Brotherhood, anime and manga, I'm sorry, where the author encourages, like, the author through Edward's voice is encouraging the viewer / reader to move forward with a full metal heart. no matter what adversity may come your way. And I thought that was like a very poignant and very compassionate ending to such an amazing anime. So that's the anime ending that stuck out with me to this time.
I feel like anime's going forever now.
Yeah.
Episode 601.
Don't even get me started on One Piece, man.
Oh, has it ended yet?
No.
No.
It's still going on,
What?
including the manga.
Naruto's ended.
Yeah, Naruto and Bleach have
Yep,
ended.
and yeah.
Which, by the way, Bleach didn't end very well. So I'm kind of sad with that.
Did Dragon Ball Z end?
No.
No, I think it's still going.
The manga...
He got a new power now. It's like...
Yeah.
Ultra. Like...
Ultra Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
The memes. Dragon Ball in particular, the manga is kind of like catching up to the anime.
Oh,
but like the
anime got ahead.
Yeah, the anime had like its own arc, and now the manga is kind of catching up.
Are they?
But it's going in a slightly different direction.
Okay.
In that, like, certain characters are being rewritten in the manga as having a little bit more significance as they did in the anime.
Yeah.
But beyond that, most of the big three in anime have already like passed on the torch, so to speak. So yeah, that's the ending of this episode. Thank you so much, Jessica, for being with me throughout these past few episodes. And
thank you for having me.
I want to continue this that isn't the true end, I hope.
No.
For this podcast.
It's just a cliffhanger.
Oh.
Something you don't like.
Oh no. But let me know, you guys, if you want us to explore anything else. It doesn't have to be an anime. It could be other forms of media entertainment that you enjoy. Let me know in the comments down below. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.
And that's it for this season, my friends. I really have to thank you so much for listening and being with me on this journey of reminiscing, just having fun, you know? I hope you've gotten a little more curious about the world of anime, and I really hope that you pursue different animes yourself after listening to this podcast. Well, everyone, until next time, to be continued, and see you, Space Cowboy. Peace. This episode is dedicated to my friend Sophia Vicent. You were taken too early from us, friend. I hope you find peace. Thank you.